The parents of a 4-month baby have been fatally shot, while their next-door neighbour has been critically injured over a dog dispute. The incident occurred just after 9 p.m. on the 19th of June 2022, outside an apartment complex located at 67 Franklin Avenue in Hartford, Connecticut, when 27-year-old Christina Dang and 39-year-old Chase Garrett were fatally gunned down in their driveway. A woman in her 20s, whose name remains anonymous, lived next door to the couple in the same complex, was also shot and rushed to the local hospital in a critical condition. It's said that a minor argument began when the next-door neighbour's puppy pit bull scratched Christina, which then escalated into gunfire. It is said they started arguing and went inside the apartment complex but went back outside again. A witness reported seeing Chase shoot the female dog owner when a fourth person intervened and fatally shot Chase and Christina while she was holding onto a baby before fleeing the scene in a vehicle. The couple's child is reportedly unharmed and is in the custody of the Department of Children and Families while they search for relatives of the child. Investigators say they have identified the fourth person involved in the shooting and have located the vehicle abandoned down the road. However, the suspect's on the run from the authorities as the investigation into the matter continues. 29-year-old Raymond Medina is behind bars after allegedly killing his 8-week-old baby daughter. The events came to light at around 10 a.m. on the 14th of June 2022, when the authorities responded to the Hendricks Medical Center in Abilene, Texas, on reports of a suspicious death after an unresponsive infant was brought in with multiple injuries. An investigation led the authorities to believe the child died of severe abuse. That same day, Raymond was arrested on an unrelated family violence warrant and remained in custody while his daughter's death was investigated. While interviewed, Raymond allegedly admitted to the authorities that he was being too aggressive with his daughter early that morning. While he was trying to get her to stop crying, he pushed her face down into the couch and started spanking her. He then covered her body with a pillow to muffle her screams. He repeatedly put the pillow over his daughter's face 5 or 6 times and squeezed the sides of her body and grabbed the back of her head. The autopsy determined that the 8-week-old girl suffered injuries that included skull fractures caused by blunt force trauma, a large contusion on the head caused by multiple blunt force impacts, and broken ribs. Raymond was sentenced to 3 years of probation in April this year for another family violence case. Raymond is charged with first-degree murder and is held at the Taylor County Jail with bail set at $2 million. A 5-year-old boy has died after spending hours in a hot car while his mother prepared for her daughter's 8th birthday party. The incident occurred at around 3:20 p.m. on the 20th of June 2022, located in the 13,700 block of Blair Hill Lane in Houston, Texas. His 8-year-old sister and his mother went to a store earlier that day, preparing to celebrate the girl's birthday party. In the rush to get organised for the party, the mum and the daughter got out of the car, but the boy remained in the back still strapped to his seat. The boy's mother said her son knew how to unbuckle himself, and she thought he was going to do the same thing that day, but it wasn't until 2 to 3 hours later when she called for the child, when she realised that her son was unresponsive and still buckled to the seat in the car. First responders arrived and pronounced the boy dead at the scene. On this day, the family drove a rental Porsche vehicle, and it's thought that the child might not have been as familiar with the settings. The outside temperature was in excess of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It's unclear if the mother will face charges. 73-year-old Kerry Ensley is in custody after kidnapping a couple and forcing a woman to wear a leash around her neck. The incident occurred at around 8:10 a.m. on the 17th of June 2022, when a hiker called 911 from a trail along Bear Creek Park, located near South Oak Way in Denver, Colorado. He reported seeing 2 other hikers being held at gunpoint by a man, and the witness stayed on the phone and shared updates about the situation until deputies arrived at the scene a couple minutes later. The authorities located the 2 victims and learnt that the suspect was still at large in the area. The officers then located the suspect a short distance away and confronted him at gunpoint. The man failed to comply with the commands from the deputies and pulled out a weapon, which was later determined to be a stun gun, from his waistband and pointed it at the officers. One of the deputies fired a shot from his firearm, missing the suspect. A second deputy deployed his taser at the suspect, hitting him. The suspect was taken into custody and transported to an area hospital after complaining of injuries from the taser. The suspect was identified as 73-year-old Kerry Ensley. The two victims were not injured during the course of the kidnapping and were taken to the sheriff's office to be interviewed. The investigators learned that the husband and wife were hiking when they came across a male who was kneeling down tying up his shoelace. As they walked past him, he confronted them with a handgun. The suspect ordered the woman to the ground and put a nylon leash around her neck. The suspect then ordered the couple to come with him. At one point, the male victim was able to take the handgun away from the suspect. The two victims then fled the immediate area and made contact with law enforcement. During the course of the kidnapping, the victims realized that they knew the suspect. Kerry was not immediately recognized because he had altered his physical appearance and disguised himself. The authorities said that Kerry has a history of harassing the woman, and there are police reports and a restraining order to reflect that. Kerry was arrested and charged with second-degree kidnapping, felony menacing, and violation of a restraining order.